Alabama had its first practice in pads yesterday, so it makes sense they're going to take the day off.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. We'll talk about Gametime in just a little bit. Want to thank you every day for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks to everybody for making us first listen every single day. You guys are the best. If you were an everydayer, then you know that we were talking about the first practice in pads coming up. Well, now that day is gone, and it happened. So, Jimmy, what did we learn outside of Lawson Brooks not being at practice? What did we learn?
Well, that Lawson Brooks isn't hugely injured. He's just a little injured. This happens during camp. What I'm looking for is, it's not that Coach DeBoer, who was available for a press conference when practice was over. It's not like I'm looking for this every day. But to me, the real question is, this time of the year, it isn't, hey, Coach, who's hurt today? Who couldn't practice today? My concern is always Florida State. Coach, is there any players on the team that you have a concern about that won't be potentially 100% for Florida State? That really should be the only question, because virtually every player that practices between now and then is going to get banged up to the extent that Lawson Brooks was banged up, right? I mean, where you miss a practice or two, you spend some time in the training room, you're in a black jersey. That's all fine. That's going to happen. It's football. It almost has to happen. But what you don't want to do is have players injured and missing games. And the good news is, to my limited knowledge, I don't think that there is a player right now that is a major concern that they won't be ready for Florida State. If I have a concern in the back of my mind, Luke, it's Deontae Lawson in terms
what about Keon Sab?
Yeah, maybe a little with Sab.
You're like, oh my God, I was feeling good, dude.
Boy, you just doubled the number of anxiety. You just doubled my anxiety. No, but Lawson, I will be doubtful that he's 100% before Florida State. And I do think with Keon Sab, there's a legitimate worry there. But with Lawson, I don't know. I just have this memory, and I'm sure you remember, Luke, when Dont'a Hightower, for instance, or Dylan Moses was coming off a knee injury. They could play, but they weren't the same guy.
No.
And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen with Lawson, or that we should set our watches to that, hey, that's what we're going to have with Lawson. But I do think, hey, if you're prone to anxiety and worry, that's fair to carry with you. But until I'm told that, hey, this is a problem, then I don't want to think of it as one.
Would you call somebody crazy if they said Deontae Lawson has been a better overall college player than Dylan Moses?
No.
Okay.
No. I would go Lawson. I would go Lawson over
I'll
Dylan
say
Moses.
It. Hey, but the thing is, see, you and I also are big recruiting guys. We know Dylan Moses looked like a 38th grader when he was in 8th grade, and he was a grown man in 8th grade like you wouldn't believe, and he had an LSU offer and committed to LSU in the 8th grade.
What if I say Dylan Moses? Okay, let's put injuries aside. Dylan Moses, better athlete. Deontae Lawson, better inside linebacker.
Does
that make sense to you? I mean, does that make sense? I mean, Dylan, probably bigger, faster, stronger. Deontae, better football player.
I would probably put Dylan off the bus before I'd put Deontae, like if I'm lining them up.
Yeah.
But I do think that's apropos of nothing, but just you said Dylan Moses.
I actually like the comp, actually, because maybe it starts with the fact they're inside linebackers. They both wore 32 at least for a while, because Deontae changed to aught, which I hate, by the way. Because I don't like the number 0. I think you might like that. I don't. You like the number 0?
I don't care. I mean, it's
not a number. It's not a number.
I'm with you. I mean, why don't we just start
doing a number? It's 0.
Personal foul on number 3 5/8. I mean,
I'm just saying, you count the apples, count the ducks, count the clouds. It's not 0. It's one or more.
Well,
right?
I mean, it could be a clear day, and then you just have none. I mean, you just it is sort of a nebulous. I mean, it's like, okay, all right.
There's the cloud term you just used. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Isn't nebulous a cloud?
Is it?
Deontae Lawson to me is a back to Deontae. Well, I forgot to say a while ago. Deontae's a coach on the field that I don't think Dylan ever was. I think Deontae is a green dot guy. The green dot guy. Deontay's a green dot guy. Dylan's just a see ball, go get ball guy to me. I mean, in terms of like a gazelle on the football field. And when Dylan was healthy, his athleticism was crazy good. That I would never say about Deontae. But Deontae doesn't need that athleticism because of his instinctiveness at the position. He's one step ahead of the opposition and can kind of get there. So I take Deontae over Dylan as a football player, but I think they're in the same ballpark and they just both have different strengths.
I saw on BOL where they talked about the receiver groupings again, and it was interesting because, look, Ryan, I would be shocked. They keep saying, hey, these groupings really don't matter that much. They're going to move around. But Ryan Williams is always in the first group. I'm going to be shocked to my core if Ryan Williams is never in the first group, barring some kind of injury. And if he's that, he's not going to be in any group because somebody's going to be over there peeling grapes and putting ice on whatever it is that hurts. But so Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Rico Scott. And then then behind Scott was Isaiah Horton, I think, and Derek Meadows. And they were like, again, don't take too much from these. But I do take something from it. This is what I take from it. That I take Rico Scott is the fourth dude is end of discussion.
The lineups don't mean everything, but they do mean something.
Yeah.
They mean something.
Because the lineup wasn't Derek Meadows, Jalen Mbakwe, and a hurt Latsier Brooks. I mean, that would tell me, I'd be like, whoa, what's that all about? Maybe this doesn't really mean anything, They
do line up in a certain way and go through drills a certain way. And if you're like, no, it's willy-nilly, if you think about it, you should want them to line up and go through drills a certain way because it's a constant carrot at the end of the stick thing. This is the guy you have to beat out. Nick Saban, and we'll talk about the movie later because I watched the Nothing But a Winner movie last night. Look, Nick Saban said this before, not in the movie, but this was a Nick Saban thing. He said, players come to me in my office and complain that they're not playing. And I always look at them and I say, who is playing that you are better than, that you're better than? Tell me who's playing and that you're a better player than that guy. And that's such a great answer. And that's why you line them up that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you're better than that guy, then beat him out. Move ahead of him. Literally show them the pecking order. It makes so much sense to do it that way because you're not hurting anybody's feelings intentionally. Say, this is the pecking order. And if you want to change it, then beat out the dude that's directly in front of you in the drill. And it makes so much sense. And I'm not saying that's the only way they line up and do it, but it does make sense. And when you go, and I've been to practice, a while back with BOL as part of the media crew. And let me tell you, through the drills, you can see the, if you want to call it depth chart, fine, but it's pretty apparent by the way they line up through drills in terms of who goes first. Now, is it written in ink? Is it certain? Is it definitive? No. But it's not a coincidence that when they say, okay, quarterbacks first up, it ain't going to be the walk-on. It's going to be the presumed starter.
By the way, side note, people may be surprised to hear that you don't have the same access as Locked On guys you do with BOL. But maybe if you just went up there and said, hey, I'm with Locked On, and they'll go, hey, you do the podcast with that fat guy, right? if you heard the podcast yesterday,
it's not actually true. Some of it's just the fact that I'm here, not in Tuscaloosa. I do think with Locked On, We would.
But that's the only way I could use the joke.
We would no, do the joke, but I'm now explaining I think with Locked On, I could get access to practice, but I'm in Fairhope and I'm not going to do the 8-hour thing.
Yeah, that would be tough, man. Look, I commute an hour each way every day. Commuting 4 hours each way, that's a crazy talk. Unless you really don't like your family. Beginning to think about getting me a new place in Meridian. I'm just teasing. All right, let's talk about 5-hour energy because I'm going to need it for those long commutes. And if
coming up
my
now.
wife hears this, I'm going to need it for
they don't listen to the
singles apartment I'm going to have.
My family doesn't listen to the show either.
Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-hour energy transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest. Some days on the course or off of it, you just need an extra boost to stay sharp and energized. And Lord knows I needed one today because I took 2 under 10-year-olds to the jump park. My goodness, it wore me out just watching them. Golf is all about good times with good people, though, and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to drink without chasing down the beverage cart. That's always awesome. So if you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. That is something some of you will need to know. But go check out 5-Hour Energy. You'll love it. All right. Wait a minute. What did I do here? We're going to go off. We're going to go off the rails here for a second. I mean, not necessarily off the rails. This is on the rails, but a different destination
Topic.
And the reason I want to do this is because I talked about this last year with yesterday, 2 days ago, with some Auburn people. And then just our little text group, somebody brought up the schedule for next year for Alabama. And I'm going to tell you, as a guy who loves to look ahead.
For next year, you mean 2026?
2026. All we know for sure is that we're going to have FSU at home and we're at West Virginia in 2026. That's all we know for sure. Well, and there might be
Rich Rod. Rich Rod, our former coach, Rich Rod.
Oh, I mean, the Rich Rod appreciation.
I don't care what people say. I firmly believe through sources and otherwise, Rich Rodriguez was the head coach at Alabama for about 2 hours.
I'm with you on that. 100%. Now, but what I was talking to my Auburn friends about on another show was Auburn better make some hay this year. They better do something because their SEC schedule this year is about as easy as it's going to get. You got Georgia and Bama at home, clearly your 2 toughest games. They're both at home. Now, you do go to Texas A&M, but this is probably before A&M is really taking shape, although I could make the case Texas A&M has never taken shape in its 125-year history, whatever it is.
I'd take A&M over Auburn even this year. I would.
I agree, Jimmy.
But I agree with you that A&M's likely to be even better in the future than they are today, though. You're correct. Correct.
Now, Oklahoma is going to be better, not worse, in the upcoming future, but Auburn's probably not going to play Oklahoma next year. See, Auburn's probably going to play Texas, just like we are. I'm willing to bet Auburn and Alabama both play Texas.
I agree.
I'm also willing to bet this, that Auburn, they're going to get some combo. Vanderbilt will rotate off probably, unless we go to something weird where Vanderbilt is a permanent opponent for them. That was a rumor for a while. But they'll get Missouri rotating off and Kentucky rotating off and all that. And they'll probably rotate on somebody like Ole Miss and somebody like LSU and somebody like Florida. Meanwhile, we'll be rotating on. Yeah, we'll be rotating on Texas, Florida, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss, stuff like that. Maybe in Arkansas, somebody. I don't know, but regardless, what I'm saying is this conference it gives you less breathers than ever. And this particular year, I was just talking to Auburn people, so that's why I brought it up. Because next year, I wonder who exactly we will get. Because look, I don't think we'll have Georgia. I don't think they'll do Georgia again. So if we know we'll have Auburn, we feel good about Tennessee, or I would say 70% chance of LSU, and then it's sort of a crapshoot. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we get Mississippi State. Because number one, I think it's stupid we don't play them. We're the closest geographically of everybody.
Right. It's cheap. Cheap travel.
Well, so then who else do you think? Because I think we'll get Texas. That game's too sexy not to have.
I'm guessing in terms of the old SEC East, SEC West, that the first 2 years of adding Texas and Oklahoma, we sort of flip-flopped from playing all the West schools to playing all the East schools. We did play Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas. Now all of a sudden we're playing South Carolina, we're playing Missouri, we're playing Vanderbilt. We're playing all the East schools instead of the West schools. I'm guessing, even though I don't think it's necessarily designed, I think we flop back to the West. And it is Arkansas, and it's Ole Miss, and it's Mississippi State. And I agree with Luke, it's Texas. I think if you've been playing Oklahoma the last 2 years, they're gone, and Texas is here. For Georgia, it's vice versa. They've been playing Texas. Now Georgia flips to Oklahoma. Alabama flips to Texas. Auburn flips to Texas. And let me tell you, Texas has had a pretty... Easy's not the right term. I look at it kind of like it's golf. I love when I'm not a great golfer, but I love when someone says, oh, have you ever played that course? It's easy. I've yet to play an easy course. I don't know where they're... Now, some courses are easier than others, but there is no easy course. And then the SEC, that's what it's like when they say, well, Texas schedule's easy. Well, really? I mean, they are playing Georgia. They are playing Texas A&M. They are playing Oklahoma. I mean, it's not... They're not playing 8 games against Kentucky, or the current Kentucky, which is bad. By the way, I was going to ask you, Luke, right now in the SEC, who's bad? We used to be able to say, well, Vanderbilt. They're not bad by any stretch. Now, today's Vanderbilt's that's a game. Lace them up. Kentucky and Mississippi State. Kentucky and Mississippi State. I would say Kentucky might be bad.
Kentucky might be bad this year, and I don't know what it's going to do.
They haven't been bad, but they're bad.
They might. I think they could be bad this year, as Stoops is going to have to make a I'm going to reinvent myself here kind of moment, or I'm going to get out of here. I'm just going to get out of here.
Stoops needs some sort of deathbed resuscitation, which could happen, or this is kind of it for him. I mean, that's kind of how I feel. And by the way, I root for that guy. And I think what he did at Kentucky over the long haul has been under-regarded amazing. I mean, pretty amazing what he's done. But boy, it just sort of fizzled out here to me. And I could be wrong. And I'm going by, hey, and these guys may prove me wrong, but I'm going by, I don't think much of Zach Calzada at quarterback. And I've heard K-Law, as you know, me and you have been fans, and we've been very complimentary of Kendrick Law. I think he's their wide receiver 1. If he stayed at Alabama, I don't know that he's wide receiver 5 or 6, but he's wide receiver 1 up there. And I can't name a Kentucky defender. I used to be able to rip off 3 or 4 because they were headed to the NFL. It just seems like they just sort of ran out of dudes.
But it is interesting. Like, I just threw this schedule together. What would this sound like? Now, this is not crazy to think this is what Bama's schedule would be.
Yep.
Again, keep in mind, we're at West Virginia. We got Florida State at home, and I guess 2 other soup cans, whatever they are. I don't know what they are, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm also assuming we're going to stick with 8 games. I feel like the tide is turned, pardon the pun, that may be where we're headed. If the SEC is not going to get any more money for adding another game, we ain't playing another game. And right now,
it comes down to that. For all the talk about the Big Ten goading you into, means nothing. Is ESPN going to pay you more money because you're playing the 9th game? It's that and nothing else. It's, are we satisfied with the financial package from ESPN to move into a 9th game? We're not going to move to a 9th game without getting paid more money, because what we're doing is these people paying us the money. Imagine this: Alabama's 9th game this year, say it's Louisiana Monroe. How much more valuable to ESPN is if Alabama's not playing Louisiana Monroe, but they're playing Arkansas? I mean, you have to be compensated for that, right?
Good Lord, what if it's Texas?
Exactly.
What if it's Florida? Now,
Exactly. So
now,
to me, it's about the money. Like, I don't think the SEC is like, we're just not playing a ninth game on principle. It's about the money.
Because the
Isn't
SEC
it always?
We'd play a 13-game conference schedule if they paid us enough.
That's right. So it's about the money. Now, I agree with Luke. I say without the money, the SEC has such power right now. They can just draw a line in the sand. Who cares?
I wish we'd drop back to 7 like we used to do in the 8 just to make everybody mad. All right.
You know what I want to do is, because I see the money doesn't matter to me because, we're not paid because of that. But what I'm saying is this is what I would like for the Big Ten to go to 8 and the SEC stay at 8 and we have an SEC Big Ten challenge.
I'm down with that. All right.
There's your 9th game.
What about this potential schedule for Bama? And on the surface, I think it reads easier, but I'm not sure that it is. All right. The home games would be Auburn. That's clear because we're at Auburn this year.
Yep.
Florida, I'm throwing them in there because, okay.
Uh-huh.
Kentucky and Texas. And let me tell you, I think
pretty awesome.
That's first of all, it's an awesome home schedule. Secondly, it's tough. Now think about the other direction. At Tennessee, at LSU, at Ole Miss, and then I'm throwing at Mississippi State in there.
Better.
Now, I left out Arkansas. That'd be the one. I think that's the one team that we wouldn't have played.
That schedule is crazy hard.
I could if I took out Florida and put Arkansas there, I feel a heck of a lot better. But you could be having a brand new quarterback facing a returning Archie Manning, a returning DJ Lagway, a returning, guess Jackson Arnold, returning whoever Tennessee's got. Now, LSU would have somebody new, but they got good dudes. And then I'm assuming a returning Austin Simmons for Ole Miss. That is difficult.
How good is DJ Lagway going to be as a junior? That's the thing. Florida to me sounds that Florida could go 6-6 this year and make a change with Napier. But the thing to me is I see Florida is crazy good in 2026. But then they could fire Napier and go back.
Transfer.
Yeah, fire Napier. What if Lagway leaves?
Tough choices out there for people now. Let's talk a little game time. You know what? I'm going to go off script a little bit because game time's personal for me. I love them. I've used them a bunch. I've used them for the NFL, concerts, comedy, used it for college football, college basketball, college baseball, MLB, everything. NBA. My son used it for my account on Game Time for a WNBA game. Because he's in Phoenix and he, some people want to go, whatever. I think Caitlin Clark was in town. Anywho,
that's a thing.
She is a thing. But I'm just telling you, Game Time's the best. So go check out Game Time. Use code LOCKEDONCollege, get $20 off your first purchase. You will love it. Now, that's only if you're a first timer. But you know what? Most of y'all listening aren't first timers. Y'all have used Game Time before because we love Game Time. We've told you. We're not going to sit up here and just tell y'all a bunch of lies. Everybody that has used Game Time because of this channel, they typically DM me or text me or something or Facebook me or FaceTime or Instamark, whatever, and say, hey, I loved it. It worked out great. And so you will too if you just go give Game Time a chance. Make them your new ticket provider, and you will be thrilled to death with Game Time. So Jimmy went and checked out Ain't Nothing But a Winner. And Jimmy, how was it? Was that a pretty good impersonation?
I knew who you were doing. It was terrible, but I knew who you were doing.
But
and that quote is in the movie. The quote is in the movie from the man himself. It's fantastic. It really is. Everybody listen to this show. There is absolutely no way as an Alabama fan you wouldn't love this show, as it did a great job of archiving the Bear Bryant era and the Nick Saban era and sort of melding them together. Particularly highlights Coach Bryant and his work in integration or integrating the football team. And it's a real thinker in that area. Obviously we're all aware of that being a thing, but portrays in a different positive light, very moving. Again, I love the Saban stuff we just kind of recently lived. I kind of like the Bryant stuff a little more because we just hadn't gone over that in a while. And there's a lot of footage that either I had never seen or forgotten I'd seen. Just, it's fantastic. I was watching with my wife and my stepdad, and my wife, who's of course an Alabama football fan, Alabama graduate, she's into it. She goes to all the games with me. But like she said, like, I want to watch that a week before every season. Like every season in the future. That's what we need to watch every year before the season starts. So that's how moved she was by it. Great stuff. Here, one other thing that would really affect Luke, I know, because I'm so happy that this ended up a central part of the movie. The Jalen was replaced by Tua, and Alabama wins the national championship. And then Tua gets hurt in the Georgia game, in the Dome, and Jalen comes in and wins the game. They did a fantastic job of documenting that and showing that and telling that with new interviews from Jalen especially. And it's great. And as I watched it, I remember thinking, I'm so glad they put this in a real movie, because when it happened in real time, I'm like, this has to be a movie. And now it is. Now it is. And I don't want to give away too much here, but even Jalen, who doesn't say this with pride, Jalen says it emotionally. Jalen's like, I made his ass cry. Literally his quote, I made his ass cry. Talking about in Saban, at the end. And he says it emotionally, not like, yay. I mean, it's just very moving, and yay, I made him cry. No, it was more like, wow, I made his ass cry.
Did they show Saban after that? And Saban goes,
they showed the interview. It's just great. Of course it's great. I expected it to be great, and it was. Shout out to the Humphrey family, Marlon Humphrey, executive producer. We had Bobby on our show a few days ago, hyping this up. And Marlon sort of put that together, and I think wrote a big check to help make it happen. And just shout out to the Humphreys and the Castiles. Brianna Humphrey, co-producer, Caleb Castile also involved. You get to see a lot of Jeremiah, who's great. Sylvester Croom. If we're handing out Oscars, the Oscar goes to Sylvester Croom, who gets everyone emotional a couple of different times. Sylvester Croom, I think, if I'm handing out the Oscar, it goes to him. If you're an Alabama fan, you have the opportunity to at some point watch that. Go out of your way, and you will not regret it. It's fantastic.
I can't wait to see it. I haven't had time this weekend, but I'm going to shortly. And that 2018 SEC championship game, I was there for that, and I was there for the 2nd and 26, and 2nd and 26 still, I'm talking about it and getting chill bumps. But the 2018 SEC title game, I think, is my favorite Alabama game of all time. And that is saying a mouthful. And the energy, if you weren't there, I just can't put it into words.
It went the way, if I got to write the script, it went. If I got to write the script is how the 2018 SEC championship, right. like Jimmy, if this game could go any way you want in the whole world, how would you want it to go? Boom, just like that.
But the whole thing about it was Jalen's passing that got him back, tied to the game, then got him the lead, or got him close to the lead, and then he takes off running for the last 10 yards on a draw because he had passed so well, they forgot he could run. I swear to God.
No, that's so true. Like. Hey, Rodney Orr's in it a lot too, my pal. Rodney Orr from Tighter Insider. He's quoted a lot in it. He's interviewed a lot in it. Rodney did a great job describing that moment. And I think it's Rodney who said, now Jalen, regardless of what happened in the future, didn't matter what happened in Oklahoma or Philadelphia. At that moment, Jalen Hurts was an Alabama legend. He's a legend. He's a legend when he won that Georgia game. And boy, I loved it. I loved how it tied it all in. It just made you a big Jalen fan. They told most of it from Jalen's point of view and not Tua, but we all know Tua is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play football at Alabama. That's a fact. You'd have to remind people of that. Tua's one of the all-time greats, but it really tied in Jalen with the emotional aspects of the Jalen Hurts story.
But I mean, the story of those two quarterbacks, like Tua was a righty, and his dad's like, "No, you're going to learn to throw left-handed really well." And he was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, if my dad told me to do that, he'd be like, "Son, we're going to teach you math now because football ain't for you."
And one last point. We all thought, well, benching Jalen, because so many Alabama fans wanted to bench him before that, and there was the Auburn game, and Jalen was going through this stretch where he wasn't playing very well. He was adjusting to this new offense, and it wasn't going great all the time with him throwing the ball. We all know that. But think of this. When Jalen was benched, he was 26-2.
Yeah.
26-2. And for all people, like, yeah, but he wasn't playing well. Okay, y'all list out all of the quarterbacks in the history of this game that have been benched at 26-2. It's never happened. And it's not going to. It took the wildest set of circumstances for it to happen.
Craziest.
26-2, and you're like, no, we're going with someone. We're going with someone else.
It's so nuts, man. I mean, like, it is. It's I'm just telling you, if you're an Alabama fan, anybody else, I understand a lot of people hate Alabama. I get it. But, like, for an Alabama fan, I don't know that it can get back. I mean, it is so funny because all that's also on the heels of, hey, look out, Kenyon Drake can fly. And, you're like, oh, my God. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, what a game. And then we have 2nd and 26. You're like, how can that possibly ever be topped? And then you have the whole Hollywood thing of 2018 SEC title game. And it almost makes you forget we got the hell beat out of us by Clemson in Levi Stadium.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that is nuts. I mean, that Tua
everybody.
Tua comes off the bench to win the 2017 national championship game, and then in 2018, Tua's a starting quarterback in the national championship game, and we get it had nothing to do with Tua. I mean, I say it didn't have anything to do with Tua, but it wasn't Tua's fault. But it is crazy that. How about losing to Clemson twice? We lost to Clemson in 2016, and 2018. And
both for titles. Now, I just threw an anti-Cialis bomb all over this whole podcast. I mean, I'm sitting here myself. I've got goosebumps. I'm going crazy. I'm like, and then I bring up that game, and
you bring up the game specifically.
It brings me right back. And I'm glad because I'm about to go to bed. So this works out great for me. Like, I didn't need to go to bed, like, thinking all this fun stuff. But anyway.
We play football in 26 days, people.
I know.
We play football in 26 days.
All right. That's going to do it for today's pod. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.